Asa Jaya by Sungal Sabang over here in Sarawak, Malaysia. We are here with the Grand Platypus Open, the edition being 6 10s in addition to 9 1s. Add them up together, and that is the edition that we've got here. I am, of course, Yakuzaku of Zaku, and with me today is El Descargador de RAM que siempre agradece a su señora, like _VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? We are here. We are back. Mate, it's been it feels weird only casting one event together a week. F's in the chat for ESL Open Cup Asia.
Yeah, well, I've heard plans for that though.
Oh.
Coming in eventually. That and also hit feedback coming up. Qualifiers coming up in like a month or two. So that's the stuff to look forward to. But for now, we are in Grand Platypus Open number 69, kicking things off with a ZVP, starting things on 2,000 atmospheres. LE. Da-da-da. In the bottom left-hand corner, I'm not starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, the pink Protoss player coming out from Hong Kong. He is going to be representing himself as he is currently teamless. The first of today's check-ins, he is Bistork.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres LE, we have the Indian Zerg player. He is red. He is the OG. He is the shark himself. Representing Alpha X, it is Demi. I almost called him India.
Well, apparently that's the first name for some people, so...
Yeah.
And also it works because he carries India on his back.
He does.
He is India, in the same way McCanning is NA.
That's one of the crazy things where India is like one of the countries that has, if not the largest population in the world, and he represents all of them, mate, here.
Not even gonna split it up. I mean, even Hong Kong has 2 representatives.
Oh god. Aye. All right. Well, here we go. You know, we are back in GPO, and it's great to have a bunch of these old school players and returning players. Exclamation mark B in the chat, by the way, if you want to have a look at the bracket. Of course, we have our Hong Kong boys, and representing Southeast Asia, we have Demi here. Unfortunately, me and Micah did sign up, but it's been a couple of weeks now. He hasn't checked in, mate. Dark Void just ruined his mental.
Yeah, this time he has an excuse. Wasn't YouTube, but a void consumed him nonetheless.
Yeah, I still can't believe that happened, by the way. Like, that was 2 weeks ago now, right? When Dark Void was able to do the impossible and take down me and Micah in GPO.
Well, now we have confirmation, though. Dark Void confirmed. Greater than Maru.
Confirmed. Facts.
By the loss, Mio already created a Maru confirmed years ago.
Oh god. But yeah, Dark Void, he is here in this tournament. We're not going to be casting him yet, but I'm sure we'll get some Dark Void later on.
Yeah, he does already have a first match on his way, and actually a bit of an interesting change that we've got in the format today. There's a lot more chances for players who get knocked down from the upper bracket.
Yeah.
We are, in fact, going for a best-of-3 lower bracket instead of best-of-1s.
Yeah. Due to the lower sign-up today, we thought, you know, there are a couple of things that we could do. Instead, we do have the lower bracket being a best-of-3, so players have a bit of a better chance. It will also make the tournament go a little bit longer to make up for things. So, yeah, it does mean that going down to the lower bracket isn't as scary as usual.
We just needed more content, to be fair, but
Right, we gotta run ads.
It works out. We need to fund our players somehow.
Oh god, I'm gonna message you guys. Can you go like full Sky Toss? 30-minute game, please. Thank you.
We only have one game, make it count. But speaking of Sky Toss, Bistork definitely committing to that. It's kind of weird to say, but I think I'm finally getting used to seeing Bistork open up with at least one Stargate every single game. Double Stargate though. is kind of interesting to see from him.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we were talking about it a while ago now, how Bistork, he is playing a little bit more standard, or is it that standard play has kind of, you know, morphed into a form that is more akin to like how Bistork enjoys to play, right? It's like, oh, everyone's going double Stargate now, let's go, you know, like this is
My
great.
time. I've been waiting 10 years for this meta.
Oh my god. So this is something that honestly I haven't seen in a while. Probably because we haven't been able to cast ESL Open Cup Asia in a while. I miss my zest. But yeah, mate, the classic double Stargate Void Ray.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of players from NA, Latin America, and from even the ANZ sort of region are switching things up quite a bit. They're not going double Void Ray. They're either going for a quick Fleet Beacon or they're going for Phoenixes instead. But Bistork and actually a lot of the sort of Taiwanese Hong Kong players do still carry that Void Ray style with them.
Yeah, it's one of the things where I know a lot of the AU Protosses stopped just because of how aggressive the Southeast Asian Zerg players have been at like just shutting this down. But Bistork has no fear, mate.
None at all. He was again first to sign up, last to get knocked out, potentially. We'll see.
We shall see. As the Void Rays are here, there are only 3 queens, but there is enough energy for one more transfuse. Oh, and it is used.
Yeah, that was the only transfuse, but thankfully for Demi, enough of the Void Rays are bruised for Bistork to start thinking twice. Not going to be losing a single queen there. Not a lot of other units to support these queens. One Void Ray will go down. An awkward position. Maybe another. Not quite yet.
Almost, mate, almost. At the same time, the Oracle dove in. Ooh, nice stasis. Did get a lot of drones here as Demi was a little bit distracted. Meanwhile, the Void Rays, they come back in.
I'm just watching that that mineral income plummet here for Demi. Actually, it's not too bad. Macro has definitely been on point. As you kind of mentioned earlier on, I think a lot of the AU players have been shifting away from this Void Ray style because of how aggressive Southeast Asia Zerg players are. Demi this time, though, being a lot more passive than we expect from him.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he's the more, even though he's the shark, and that has like an aggressive connotation to it, he is the more passive of the Zerg Muta triangle in Southeast Asia, so it makes a little bit more sense that he is being a little bit more defensive here. But because of this, like, Bistork, +1 flyer attacks on the way, Fleet Beacon is done, he's going into those carriers.
Even a third Stargate to support this. He's even getting Flux Veins, because why not? He has money to spare.
Yeah.
Gotta spend it somehow.
It's great to help, like, boost these Void Rays, because you know what? Only one Void Ray has died so far this game, you know, despite how low some of these others have gotten. And having those Flux Veins means that he can harass a little bit more, and they'll do such a better job at keeping those carriers alive.
Absolutely. I'm already very impressed with how careful Bistork has been with his Void Ray control. That was a kill, not quite a cancel. A little unfortunate. If the Spire goes down before it even gets made, then Demi is in a lot of trouble. Should be enough DPS here. Not quite. Transfuse is way too good at keeping hatcheries alive, but Bistork, again, not losing too many Void Rays there, only 2.
Yeah, and that's well worth it for denying the Spire like that, the way in the fashion that he did. That's absolutely insane. Meanwhile, Demi, he's trying to go for a bit of a run by, but you know what? To defend, the carriers are already done. They haven't revealed themselves yet, so Demi is actually unaware. He hasn't scouted the main base in a very long time. He doesn't know that the carriers are already out.
This one Void Ray, okay, the reinforcements are coming in, but that one Void Ray and that one Adept completely keeping the economy of Bistork alive. Bistork is in a fantastic position moving forward.
Yeah, he's working up to 4 bases, equal bases with the Zerg player, which is terrifying, by the way. Demi, he needs to try and take another expansion. The problem is that he hasn't been able to, just because of how like present these Void Rays have been.
Now these Warriors are going to be even more present with the Flux Veins. Thankfully, Demi, he did get some Hydras. He wants to go into his Lurkers eventually to counter the what's the word I'm thinking of here, like inevitable, that's one, inevitable gateway tech transition from the Protoss player.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we would expect, and it is on the way, right? Like, charge is finally on the way, +1 attack as well to help support these units. What I'm surprised about is, where's the Storm? It's so late. Yeah, like, Bistork was so greedy teching up. If Demi did go for some kind of Hydra timing, honestly, it may have worked here. But again, because of how defensive he's being, like, enough time is passing where, like, High Templar, they're on the way.
They are, but till then, Bistork is going to be completely lacking in AoE. Very good run by coming in here, preventing a decent amount of mining so far, and will force Bistork to reveal his hand.
Yeah, exactly. The carriers have been revealed here. We do have lurkers on the way, which, I mean, do help. I do think that, and to be fair, Demi, he didn't overcommit to these Hydras. He still has plenty of supply spare to go into those Corruptors.
Well, not anymore. Okay, Corruptors on the way.
Yeah, he feels
not
it
bad,
out with
but
Corruptors.
still a little. Yeah, it's not bad, but definitely feels like it is lacking a little bit in the air beef.
Yeah, and mate, you need all that beef if you're going up against Beefstroke, mate. Oh god.
I thought you needed like something to roast it or the beef, but no, apparently you beat beef with more beef.
Oh god, let's not touch that. Meanwhile, Demi is moving out across the map here. Again, he has a lot of lurkers, which will help zone out the High Templar. He has a couple of Hydras as well for the Interceptors and Corruptors. I don't know if there are enough Corruptors, but he does have those Vipers.
Not the best posturing over here for Bistork, I gotta say. Those High Templar are very exposed. Thankfully, he doesn't lose any of them yet, though, as Storm just finishes up.
That it does.
Get his +2. No, Templar!
Yeah, one spine volley does go through. High Templar are so close to going down.
Bistork needs to be so careful, and to be fair, he is with how he's positioning this. He's not losing any of his High Templar so far. The Void Rays are being very vulnerable due to the parasitic bombs, but a couple of storms do land. And Bistork is finding a bit of a way through, but he's really starting to run out of steam.
That he is. Beautiful yoink there. One of the carriers will go down. All the High Templar are gone. There's not enough energy for any more storms, and now is the time for Demi to push on forward, but he backs off with his Corruptors.
No energy for any storms, no money for any interceptors. But yeah, Demi not feeling too confident in pressing this attack.
Yeah, he didn't realize like there were 0 interceptors that are being rebuilt now. Like that was a really good opportunity for him to just push on forward. But he didn't have that many Hydras. He does have a decent amount of Corruptors, but Demi, he just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of fair as the Zerg player here. He's still maxed out. He's still building up a bit of a bank. He doesn't want to really overextend too much or even risk overextending before he's able to remax an army.
Yeah, this is true, but I am concerned now because what this means is that Demi, he fought well there, but the majority of the carriers survived. I think only one carrier died, so Bistork is being a little bit more efficient here, like as time goes on, if he keeps all of his carriers alive.
That is true, and meanwhile there's even a bit of a run by going on in the north as a dogfight happens in the sky. Back here towards the south, all of the mining has been prevented from this base, and Demi will eventually run out of money if Bistork keeps this up.
Oh god, that he will. Thankfully, Demi, he is expanding, I guess, towards his own army, so he's already here to help defend his bases. He isn't being spread too thin. Ooh. Decent storm, decent feedback.
Yeah, getting rid of a lot of these transfuse energy. Not quite getting the Vipers so far, but it's definitely a way to utilize your High Templar.
Definitely.
It's super fine.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, here we go. We do have another storm. It does miss the army. Nice parasitic bomb on the Void Rays.
Oh, even gets a couple of these carriers and some of the interceptors as well. Void Rays are finally starting to go down, and this is starting to get more worrisome for Bistork. A lot less of a buffer available as Demi just continues to make more and more Corruptors and Hydras.
Yeah, and what I'm a little bit worried about is that right now both players are focused here towards the south. Bistork is pressuring the new bases. Meanwhile, he's expanding freely towards the north.
And that rich Vespene base at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Bistork
hurting for resources.
Yeah, now he's pushing deep into creep. Meanwhile, the Vipers get feedback.
That they do, and the storms blanket just about every single Corruptor. Not too many of them go down, but they are so damaged. A lot of transfuses forced out of there.
Yeah, exactly. And without Vipers, without energy, it's really difficult to engage in this army. Meanwhile, there's a random High Templar. Yeah,
like, don't worry, boss. I'll get rid of this Swarm Crawler.
No. Oh god, that poor High Templar. It's okay, we have a couple more on the way. This lone lurker, it will go down. There's nothing here to really support it at all. And now all these spores are going down, Demi needs to respond to this.
Yeah, but right now it looks like he's kind of a deer in the headlights. He's deciding how he should face this army, and I'm not convinced that this is the best way to do so. Everything's bunched up. There's still a couple of High Templar, but the storm is dodged.
Oh my god, those storms are not though, as they do connect with the Hydras, but I think that is every single one of those storms. Now it's just the carriers left.
That it is, but there's still plenty of interceptors still here. A lot of Void Rays have been taken up, so these Corruptors should be able to target fire. Oh, those are some pretty decent storms, getting rid of a lot of ground army. The Corruptors in the sky, though, is still a massive threat right now for Bistork.
That it is, and you know what? The Archons are going down. Nice parasitic bomb. Now Demi can dive in and focus on each of these carriers.
And it's really starting to thin them out. The Void Rays are trying to take out the Corruptors, but it's just not enough DPS. The Hydras are supporting from the ground. And I really like the idea of these Immortals clearing a path for the ground army of Bistork, but fortunately they're not getting too much done over here. The Corruptors are finally starting to go down, and actually the Hydras are starting to really thin out too.
Yeah, the focus fire wasn't there. Unfortunately, Demi was on a little bit of an A move, and GG gets called.
Bistork, some of the cleanest execution I've seen in a long time. And I gotta say, Demi, he took that final fight at the start very, very well, but I feel like after the Corruptors started to get thinned out, he kind of lost hope.
Yeah, which I don't think he should have, because, like, as you said, the beginning of the fight, Demi, he focused down, like, 3 carriers, and then he stopped focusing them, and they were just, you know, kind of busy killing Interceptors and Archons, the Hydras and the Corruptors were, even though those carriers were getting so low. And
in the end, Bistork had enough DPS. I'm just looking at the upgrades here on stream, and Demi did finish up +3 before that fight happened. +3 range, I should say. But I guess Carapace was still in a +1 for the ground army and not existent for the air army. That may have factored in a little bit, but I don't know. I'm very impressed with Bistork. I actually, when you mentioned Mio Micah being not checking in today because he was terrified of the possibility of facing Dark Void, I was going to go into the whole, you know, on paper, our favorites are Go-Go, Joey, and Demi. I was going to say I had a feeling, for some reason, I could not explain why. I just had a feeling that Bistork was going to go 4 today. And already he's proving to overtake my own expectations.
Yeah, again, like, Bistork, he's also a wild card there. He's probably one of, if not the best, like, Protoss representative we have in this tournament, like, typically, even other than today. So, yeah, he has a chance here to make a deep run. To be fair, Demi is putting up a very good fight here, and he could, like, put a stop to that. Again, it's cool that we have these 2 players facing off this early. At the same time, it's a shame that they're facing off this early, but you know, it's not that many players, so...
Yeah. Thankfully, if they do rematch in the lower bracket, then at least it's not going to be a best of 1, right? So there is that.
Definitely. As we are getting into game number 2 here, it's going to be on Oxide.
Yeah, potentially going to be a longer one once again here on Oxide, especially if Dem continues to play that style. But here we are, continuing our series on Oxide LE. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We have the pink Protoss player. He is coming down all the way from the land of Hong Kong. He is... Wait, I'm trying to remember which one we decided was the Kong from Hong Kong.
It's him.
He is the Kong from Hong Kong. He is the stroker of beef. He is up 1-0 against the shark himself. He is Bistork.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Indian Zerg player. He is red, representing Alpha X. It is Demi.
And it's definitely pretty interesting how the last game played out for Demi. He took a much more defensive, a bit more of a passive stance instead of the typical aggression that we normally see. Bistork this time, though, completely switching things up.
Oh no, not like this. So this isn't a forge first. It is a gateway forge, so it's less committed. But Demi, he's gonna check the.
And he will see. That's a lot of pylons you've got, buddy. Will he get the block? He does get the block. This is the Bistork that I think we know and love. The Bistork of old.
Oh god, yeah. Exactly. And so this is what Stardock would say is a macro cannon rush. Where you invest as little as possible. The goal of this is just to deny the natural base, force it to be cancelled. Demi does cancel, and he'll be forced to expand elsewhere. Oh.
Yeah, a bit of an unnatural location. Ooh, doesn't quite get the block off there. And this plays in really well if Bistork decides to go into more of a bit more of an old school gateway rush kind of opening. Or aggressive gateway opening. As I'm not saying it has to be glaives. Glaives are usually the most effective way to transition out of this. If you want to kill your Zerg opponent outright. Again, as you said, this is more of a macro-oriented opening.
Yeah, and to be fair, glaives do hit like in the mid game, right? So like, you know, not saying it'd be that's not what Bistork has to do, but if he did, like, he would be at an advantage, right? Like, this delays the hatchery, it delays the queens by proxy of that, it delays the creep spread as well. Like, this does leave Demi quite vulnerable.
Bistork, meanwhile, he is just free to do whatever he wants, which we see is gotta be another Stargate. Okay.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess, right? Like.
Yeah, don't try to break it either. Demi, he really wants to get a Star base up though before anything else. He is making a couple of links, but I really don't see him being too aggressive with this. He's most likely just using it for map control.
This is so greedy, by the way. Bistork, he comes back in with his adept. He's trying to cannon rush again. Essentially the third base of Demi. The things are coming in.
Oh, okay, yeah. That cannon was just a bit too exposed.
Yeah.
But honestly, he could have gotten it if he blocked that off.
Not just if he blocked it off, if that adept that was harassing in the mineral line, if it had like stuck around and like helped defended this position, maybe. But just very cheeky play by Bistork.
To say the least.
Meanwhile, we
is getting a little bit done.
Yeah. I mean, the Stalker will go down. These things are trying to break in, but it looks like the adept should finish up in time.
Yeah, I mean, not the biggest of deals, but, you know, at least Demi isn't taking this lying down.
Exactly.
Somewhat.
Yeah, he's applying a little bit of pressure here, you know, getting some damage wherever he can. And yo, you brought it up.
What'd I tell ya? What did I tell you? So I guess this is... Okay. One of the most macro... tech-flexible kind of builds from Protoss, I suppose, where you get that Stargate, but you don't really commit to it. You just want to get that Void Ray to clear up Overlords here and there. Best case scenario, you completely trick your Zerg opponent into thinking that you're committed to Stargates, but instead, we see 5 more gateways coming down late.
Yeah, so this is a little bit different to what we normally see. So we have seen Twilight Council after Stargate before, right? Plenty of times. We've seen Zest do it, right? It's a more committed, adept push where you don't have a War Prism. The difference is that Bistork, he also got a Robo, right? Normally we see 4 or 5 gateways, you make a bunch of adepts and then you just send them across the map to deal whatever damage they can, right? Maybe end the game, maybe not, you transition out of it. But Bistork is so much more committed with this, with that Robo, with that War Prism.
Yeah, and ordinarily I would be very, very optimistic for this, but Demi is also going for roaches this time, so we'll see how much Bistork is able to get done over here. To be fair, Demi isn't able to pump out as many units as he would like. He's had to drone up for quite a bit so far, and doesn't quite have the larva that he wants. Because again, everything was delayed for so long.
Yeah, and ooh, nice scout here. Demi does see the Adepts. He does see the War Prism as well. He knows the army's coming. He's making nothing but roaches right now. He has to defend here.
And he should be able to. Very good pre-evacuation on some of these drones. Now all of them. But he will catch them. Roach is still a little bit exposed. Demi unfortunately pulled his queens a little bit far forward, but he should be able to save most of his drones.
Oh my god, but he shades into the main base. Yeah, a bunch of drones are going down. Yeah, at the same time, that War Prism, we see a massive warping of additional Adepts here at the third base. The third base is under threats.
My god, Bistork, he's so committed to this light.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
knows exactly what he's doing, and he's killing every single drone.
I was about to say this is basically a 2-base all-in, like because of that robo, and again the queens are falling, the drones are falling. 20 drones have already gone down. To be fair, there are a lot of roaches here at the natural base, so Demi can clean this up if he can catch up to all the Adepts.
Yeah, he can definitely clean this up if he catches up, and he has a lot of supply to spare for a potential counterattack, and I'm not convinced Bistork will be able to hold that with that many roaches out, but we'll see how much he can get done over here.
Yeah, the scary thing is that
happens.
Bistork has kept his Void Ray alive. If the Void Ray did go home to defend against roaches, like, Bistork should be perfectly fine. Meanwhile, oh my god, we see another massive warp in. The queens are trying to focus on the War Prism.
There's just not quite enough anti-air. A lot of the Adepts also survive for now. That Void Ray is still alive, but not getting too much done over here. The wind has kind of been knocked out of Bistork's sails when it comes to this push.
It has, but at the same time, he's dealt so much damage. Like, look at the worker counts. Look at the amount of queens. The queens are going to fall as... Oh, no, okay. The queens just barely stay alive. And Demi, he's just kind of stuck at home trying to defend. Like, he just hasn't had the room to counterattack and go across the map.
Yeah, I think the big question from here is how will Bistork transition out? Is he just going to continue to throw Adepts at Demi? I think the time has definitely passed with that.
He's not
a
stopping.
lot of roaches.
You're not wrong, but you know what? All these things are going to go down. There's nothing shoots up, so the Void Ray is doing a lot of damage to these roaches.
Yeah, I mean, Demi is trying to make as many queens as possible, but these roaches are starting to fall. And the Adepts are going to have a lot less to worry about.
Oh god, at the same time, more Adepts hit the third base. The third base, it looks like it may even go down at this rate, and then Demi will be knocked down to only 2 bases.
And once Demi is on 2-base economy, that is going to be, or it should at least be enough to satiate Bistork. I'm hoping it is, because I really don't think Bistork can kill Demi here and now.
He's trying.
he is. Gotta give him credit for that.
He wants to end it, but he does commit to the shade. Oh my god, he's gonna run into these things. Once again, all these things will be cleaned up, but there's still plenty more where that came from. Like, Demi, he's starting to, like, I don't want to go as far as to say it's stabilized, but like he's, you know, he's not
stabilizing.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's stabilizing. He's not quite stabilized. That Void Ray goes down, and that's actually a lot less pressure on Demi's back here.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? That third base is still alive. For how much longer? We'll see as the queen, just barely escapes. It could be chased down, but there we go. Bistork, it looks like he will be sticking around to take down this hatchery. Maybe? Oh, yeah.
Oh, nicely done. Meanwhile, Bistork himself, he is starting to transition out of it with a third Nexus of his own, but again, he's got to be very careful in holding that. He needs to make sure that his army of Demi stays back for as long as possible. He just does not have the supply to hold that if Demi goes for a push.
Exactly, and I feel like Bistork, he finally realizes this. That's why both an Immortal and a Void Ray are on the way. Meanwhile, the War Prism, no!
Oh! Oh no, there's nothing holding Demi back anymore! The floodgates are open and Demi is making his way across the map!
Exactly, the third base, it's gone, mate. There are only Adepts to defend. The Void Ray is on the way, but it's not done yet. Demi, you gotta go now.
And go he goes. Trying to position this army as best as possible. Bistork trying to hug a wall. Void Ray is out, and there's not a lot of anti-air. Only a couple of Ravagers over here, and Demi is chased back!
Oh, he's chased back, but you know what? He's just reinforcing. He's meeting up with the queens. He's going for a big queen all-in, and he can do this.
He absolutely can. There's not much of a buffer here for that Immortal. It's so important for Bistork to utilize those rocks. Those Ravagers are going to be super key here. Bistork
Exactly.
is meant to use these force fields as best he can.
Exactly, Demi. He's looking to surround the army and just bile the juicy core of it. Meanwhile, the force fields are beautiful for now, but the Lees are getting on top of the army.
Yeah, and these sentries are out of energy. That Immortal is so low, and it's not quite in range of the overcharged battery. Thankfully, it's in range of a couple of these batteries, but oh no, not quite enough. And it looks like Demi has just about broken Bistork's back, but he's still fighting as much as he can.
But there's just not much here. Even though the 2 Void Rays are coming out, mate, the Queens are here. They have plenty of energy for transfuse. Bistork,
if they transfuse.
There we go. There, mate. It's Demi, mate. Of course he transfuses. The third base is going to go down. And we were afraid that Bistork, he was tunnel visioning too much, and maybe he was. Maybe he should have, backed off after he killed those 20 workers, right? He was well ahead. He had double the economy. There was a moment there where he could have tried to expand and transition, but he just stuck with it.
Yeah, definitely bit off a lot more than he could chew, and he is paying the price. He may be able to hold now on 2 bases, especially with the disruptor out.
True.
So at least Bistork isn't out of this, but...
Oh my god, 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 they shot the shot! Ah!
That takes out a Ravager.
Only 1 Ravager. Demi, he's
and
backing
the
off.
Queens are very exposed.
Oh yeah, these Queens, it looks like they're all gonna go down, mate. Oh my god.
Yeah, even with transfuse, there's just a whole ton of DPS over here. Oh, needs to be careful about the disruptor.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Demi, he's turning around. He wants to try and keep these Queens alive, but it's a little bit too late. The Queens do go down. The disruptor shot goes off. It doesn't hit anything, but the Queens are gone, mate.
Yeah, it zones out the entire army and takes out every single Queen. So we're kind of back to square one for both players, funnily enough. Well, I say that, but obviously both of them are taking up.
Oh my god, the Adepts, they're back, mate. They are back, and Demi, he wants to go into Mutas. Mutas are a good response if he survives long enough to make them, because the Adepts, they're here.
They're back! And there aren't as many roaches anymore, funnily enough.
He could have committed and killed all the Ravagers.
He could have, yeah.
100%. He could have killed every single one of these Ravagers. Instead, he goes for the third base. Demi, Bistork, if there's ever a moment to be aggressive, now is the time. Instead, he just deals with the hatchery.
Back to square one. Let's go. Oh, time is a flat circle, as well as being a player from China.
That he is, mate. And now there are enough links, so Demi, he has enough to defend against the Adepts. The Adepts, they finally back off, and you know what? Now there are Mutas. And what shoots up, mate? 2 Void Rays?
2 Void Rays.
Mate.
Yeah. So, well, with shield batteries, you know?
Uh-huh. Mate, the Mutas are here!
Yeah, the Stalkers don't even have Blink, do they? They do not!
No, they do not, mate.
A couple of Void Rays. Phoenixes are starting to be produced, but...
Yeah, I mean, already 8 probes go down. More importantly, Demi is keeping Bistork at home, right? And he could even take down the Disruptors!
Definitely could try to use that Guardian Shell, but there's just way too much DPS on the target firing. I will say that these Mutas in low numbers, not the most worrisome thing in the world here. It's just Bistork doesn't quite have the mobility to catch them with his Void Rays.
Yeah, exactly. And again, Demi, he's still only on 2 base production. Like, he doesn't have that much lava to work with. He's trying to produce whatever he can. Bistork, he's coming in for the kill. It's going to be all about the Disruptor shots. How juicy are they going to be?
Yeah, how juicy are the Disruptor shots going to be? Are the Mutas going to be able to keep this army alive for long enough? I do appreciate how conservative Bistork is being. That's a good shot, and that's another one. May just not be enough. Sentries, that's all you need for anti-air.
That's all the anti-air you need,
coming
mate.
in? Apparently, yeah. I mean, Phoenix is definitely helping out. Is Bistork going to 2-0 Demi here? That's a big question.
Oh, it looks like it, mate. The third base for the 3rd time is going to go down. Demi, what does he have left? He has a couple of Roaches, a couple of Ravagers, a couple of Mutas. Just not enough to really contend with this Protoss army.
Oh, my lord. Disruptors are zoning out the army so well, too.
Exactly. And Bistork, he's not overextending. He takes the base and he backs off. He knows how much Demi is hurting.
This has got to be one of the cleanest, most... I know exactly what I'm doing Bistork in a while.
That says something. When you look at this game and you're like, mate, Bistork is so clean compared to normal. It's like, it's the Cloud Fiesta of the game, mate. But you're not wrong. Oh my god.
Okay, and Demi's really starting to get starved out here. He's starting to mine out in the natural and the main base. I'm assuming the Mutas are doing as much as they can to take out the ground army, but the Phoenixes are coming in for the kill. And there we have it! Bistork with the harpoon. Beef more than shark, apparently, today. I had a really good feeling about him going into this tournament today, Light, but just after only a single match, Bistork has exceeded my already high expectations.
GG, well played, and oh my god.
Oh man, I'm impressed.
Yeah, so am I. Like, again, especially when it comes to game one, Demi, he could have taken it. Like, it was very close, and if there was maybe a little bit better like target firing there, he had what he needed. Game two was rough from the start, right? Like with the cannon rush.
I think there were definitely moments in game two and engagements that looked pretty close, but
yeah,
Demi needed to do a lot more than close in that in those scenarios, because as you said, it was just rough from the start. He was already fighting an uphill battle.
Exactly, like it was really amazing to see Demi go for that counter attack. You know, with his queens and his Roach Ravager, like he was able to break the third base of Bistork. Like that was great, but he needed to kill his opponent, and he just couldn't do it. A lot of it was because of those disruptors coming out in like clutch for Bistork to hold at his natural. And we saw how how the game just swung back and forth. That was great.
Yeah, I'm liking chat catching up to the game. It's running in circles. Man,